Yo, what up, YouTube? It's Richawd back with another video. Now, I was supposed to meet up today after work with an old coworker of mine that I used to work at FedEx with. Um, me and this brother, we connected on a spiritual level. He was one of those people who, was in the know about certain things. He believed in the Bible, and we will always just talk about the Bible and the times that we're in on the shift. And sometimes we'll just talk about life and nothing related to the Bible. But a lot of our conversations was centered around the Bible because we didn't have much time to just, lollygag at work. It was a real laborious, high-paced job. So it wasn't a lot of time to BS. So we'll basically be working and talking type junk. And we'll always talk about scriptures and God, the Bible. He would tell me to get in the Bible. He'll tell me to, keep reading it and keep reading it. He's somebody who's, like I said, really hip when he was older than me. I think he's in about his 40s. He has a kid, I believe, or he has a kid for sure. I don't know if he has more than one. And he was just a solid brother, man. The only person from FedEx that I kept in contact with. I had a couple other people that I knew and talked to, but, things just kind of fell out after I left, I guess. But we were supposed to meet up today, but he texted me earlier on in the day, and he lets me know that, he had a medical emergency and, he had to go to the hospital. Basically, his blood pressure was very high, and he was feeling very sick. He said he's been feeling very sick today. So he was going to have to cancel. We was going to meet up after work and have a little barbecue and, just chop it up, talk about some scriptures, talk about the word, have a couple of drinks, but he's really been invested in, trying to build my knowledge, because he's like, man, you're one of the few people I've ever worked with that I can talk about this stuff with, and he would talk about certain things with me, and he could tell by my answers that I knew what I was talking about, that I've actually read, and, he was kind of just testing me at first, you know how you are with the Bible. When you're really in the know with the Bible, those of you who are really in the know with the Bible, with the climate that we're in, a lot of people aren't really in the know with the Bible. They either have a brainwashed view of the Bible or they haven't read it. So, you're not really going to be able to, relate to them on that, or they may not want to talk about it. They may not be interested in it. All right. So when it comes to the Bible, and the Bible is very scrutinized today, a lot of people talk about how it's tampered with, and, a lot of people don't believe in religion, or they don't believe in this particular religion, all type of things that come with the Bible. So for my people who are in the know with the Bible, typically, we're laid back when it comes to the Bible. We're not upfront with it, these days, unless we know the person is up on the Bible too, So when we first met, he just started kind of testing the waters. He asked me, did I believe in God? I told him I did. He asked me, do I read the Bible? And I told him I do. And he just started talking about the Bible and talking about, trying to test. Because, some people say they read the Bible, but they don't really read the Bible. You start talking, or they don't read the Bible on a high level. They don't read the Bible on the 3-dimensional level. So they're not, they don't understand the Bible. So a lot of people read the Bible, but they don't understand what they're reading, So we just had talks, and he could tell that not only do I read the Bible, I understand what I'm reading, and he would just always tell me, man, just keep reading that book. You know what I'm saying? Like, stay up on the knowledge, just trying to motivate me to keep my life on the up and up and stay focused and positive. So it just sickens me to see such, someone who I saw as a positive influence, Like I said, I didn't get to spend much time with him at work. He actually wasn't even on my shift. The only days I would work with him would be his overtime days, So our time was very short and limited. But it was enough to where he invited me to, down the line, obviously, to now he's invited me to a cookout, to kick it in and talk about the word. And, people of the word, people in this truth, we don't let people into our circle easy at all. You know, inviting someone into your personal space and offering them food is, you know, a sign of trust, a sign of, you know, friendship. You know, the type of friend that I would be, the type of person that I would be. When you have righteous people, you move righteously, typically, you know, so the love feels real. It doesn't feel shaky like a lot of the people out here today, because they ain't got no real love in their heart. They got too much darkness, and they got too much hate. It's a lot of hate in people's heart these days. So it's hard for people to genuinely see people doing positive and better. That's why negativity thrives. You know, that's why the news cycle, all they post is negativity, because the news stations is a business, right? They need people to tune in. They know that people don't tune in as much to positive things, not as often as they tune into negative things. That's why the news is nothing but negativity, and people complain about how it's always negative. But the news generates a lot of the news generates a lot of traffic, right? A lot of people tune in to the news, especially when something drastic has happened. So these news stations make a lot of money off of negativity and traumatic things that go on in the world. But they're the news. They're reporting the news. It's a lot of good that's happening. It just don't make the news, because these news stations got to get paid. The good ain't going to get them paid. So all we typically hear about, you know, they post some good. They sprinkle the good in there. But all we typically hear about is the bad. But to the point I was making about my coworker, it just, you know, I'm sure he's going to be fine. You know, I pray for the brother. You know, I'm sure he'll be fine. He seemed to not be real concerned about it when he texted me, you know. But man, to have to get rushed to the emergency room, basically having high blood pressure and just feeling sick. He said he had a real bad headache. You know, that just shows the stress of these times, man. You know, blood pressure and headaches, all that is linked to stress, man. And I just pray that the brother's doing all right, man. I just pray that maybe this was just something random. He just got sick out of nowhere, you know? Because every time I see him, he'll always be in pretty solid spirits. But, you know, I could tell that it was a heavy load on his shoulder, you know, with everything going on. You know, he would talk to me about, you know, how him and his old lady, man, things didn't really pan out. And, you know, things ain't as sharp with them. You know, certain family members, he said he don't even talk to his mom no more. So, you know, I know it's a lot of heavy things on the brother's spirit, man, to not even be talking to your own mother, bro, you know? So it's just disheartening to see the brother, and he just hit me up because it seemed like he just wanted to get out. He just hit me up. He said, hey, man, bring some drinks. He even told me to bring some weed if I wanted to. Last I knew, he ain't smoked. So I don't know if he, you know, maybe it's just for me, or maybe he just like, man, I just need to let go for a little bit, get away from the nonsense. I'm just trying to chill for a little bit, be around some positive. Like, that's the type of energy I was getting, bro. You know, I'm just trying to have a cookout, you know, bring some drinks, bring some bud if you want to, like, and we just kick it, bro, you know? So I feel like he just needed to relax, man. And it's just sad that he ain't, at least this week, we gonna plan something else out. He said we're gonna plan it out for another time, bro. But like, you know, man, I know it probably would have been good for his spirit just to, you know, get out and just, you know, just conversate about the word, man. You know what I'm saying? Be around a like-minded person, a positive person, you know, a non-vulture, you know, someone who's trying to, you know, build and not take away, you know. But I'm sure the brother will be fine, man. But that just drove me into this video, bro. We gotta make sure, with everything that's going on, you know, especially those of us who are in the truth, and being in the truth comes with a lot of grief. It does. It tells you in the Bible about that, you know. With much knowledge comes much grief. That's true. And that's something I've really dealt with the more I've read up on the word and the more I've read up on just true things about life. A lot of times you find out things that are uncomfortable. A lot of times you find out things that you may not want to hear, but it's the truth. And a lot of times certain people, you start to get foresight the more knowledge you get. right? And you start to be able to predict what's going to happen, right? And sometimes that can take that basically takes the innocence away from you. Like when you was a kid, you was innocent. So everything wasn't so deep. You can go outside and just F around and be a kid. Once you come into the truth, bro, you have to fight to keep that kid state still somewhat intact. Because we gotta kill off our child state to a certain degree. But we still need that little bit of child in us, bro. That little bit of let me just go outside and have fun. That little bit of let me dream. Let me keep dreaming. The world is mine. That creativeness, that spark. We still need a piece of that. I'm not saying to be a man child, but I'm just saying if you're just completely stressed and, have no relief, that can bring a lot of health problems, bro, and just a lot of just mental drainage, bro. It comes to balance with all of this. And like I said, it's just certain ways you got to find to balance and cope with things, But yeah, man, I just wanted to talk about that, man. It just, man, bro, it's hard out here, bro. It's hard out here. I was going to talk about something else, man, but I'm going to just leave that alone, bro. I'll say that for another video. It was just about the hypocrisy of the church, bro, but I don't know if I really want. I mean, I guess I'll just throw it in at the end, bro. Like, on the topic of things is hard out here, it's someone that I know on social media. It's a female, and this is just the thing that we're dealing with out here. Like, men not liking women genuinely, men just wanting to do, and women not liking men genuinely. They just want some money, bro. They just want to secure the bag. It's all about securing the bag now. It's not about love no more. It's this girl, bro. She's a church girl, allegedly, right? But this is my thing about, certain people who say they're of God, and she's always posting scriptures. Every Sunday she's in the church. Every Sunday she's posting either her in the church or her, a scripture or something related to church, right? Every Sunday. But the other 6 days of the week, bruh, she dresses, these females dress how they dress now. It is what it is. I'm a male. I don't mind it. I'm just saying, dressing that way is going to bring attention, and they know that, bruh. Like, it's one thing to be dressed, with the, maybe a sundress on or a skirt, something a little modest, But, yeah, she dresses like she shows off her body. She pretty much just got, some cakes or whatever. She always twerking. Always posting herself twerking and this and that, but never like with any other dudes in the picture. She never posts any other dudes. The only dude she posts is her little bestie, but he's on the other side. He don't like females. So, she's one of those, has a lot of, no male figure in her life, no father. On Father's Day, she threw shade, you know what I'm saying, to her daddy being a deadbeat, which, you can't really fault her. I'm sure that's hard, having a father that basically abandoned you, hasn't had a presence in your life. I feel for people that go through that, bro, but it's unfortunate that people that typically come from these environments and don't have a strong structure, they carry themselves this way, bro. And this is the thing that people are dealing with, bro. This is the thing that a lot of men out here are dealing with, bro. Women too, but I'm speaking for the men, bro, looking for something serious. This would be the same female, bro. She's always posting herself twerking. She's always posting promiscuous, like, slow, slutty stuff, bro. It is what it is, bro. It is what it is, bro. certain songs. It'll be about, how she want to get dug out. Like, bruh, she a freak. All right. If you don't know by now, she a freak. But she in the church every Sunday. And it'd be funny, bro, because I'd be having certain people, man, you just need to find you a good girl. You need to find you a good church and get you a good church girl. That's how I know a lot of people just out of touch these days, bro, with what's really out here, bro. I'm telling you, this John in church every Sunday. She a child of the Lord. She got God tatted on her. She got all type of tattoos and stuff also, I know people, like tattoos and stuff, but biblically, we're not supposed to have tattoos, but whatever. It's your body. Do what you want to do with it. I know plenty of people with tattoos. I ain't judging you. I'm just saying, biblically, we ain't supposed to get them. I don't plan on ever getting any. But all type of tattoos, got fast friends. She seemed fast. And she always asking for things from men, particularly money. Somebody buy me this. If you really care about me, give me this. Because I'm on like her spam where she just be posting her bullshit. Somebody sent me $200. Like, niggas is just a tool for her, We just an accessory. We just here to provide a service. There's no true, genuine relationship here. And lo and behold, because she be asked for all type of money on her loose spam. Allegedly, she put the bop up. She said, "Hey, if you want the bop, if you want the wop, it's up to the highest bidder." Starting at, I ain't gonna get a number, but allegedly starting at $600, right? Starting at $600, I'll take the highest bidder. The wop is up for sale. I'm like, I be damn, bro. This a church girl. This is a church girl with the wop for sale. What is that? A prostitute in church. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? What makes sense these days, bro? But then this girl will be the same girl to post, "Oh, these men ain't nothing. These men ain't this." On Father's Day, talking about how her daddy was a deadbeat and this, that, and the third. No accountability, No looking in the mirror. Just men are garbage. Men are trash. You hate men. You don't need no man. You work hard. You work multiple jobs. You don't need nobody. You are independent. You a girl. You just a girl. You just a girl. You just a girl. And she'll be on there talking about what men need to do for her. And this is what I'm talking about, man. I don't care who got a problem with this. This is an issue, bro. This whole culture, bro. I hate it. I hate it, bro. You gotta adapt to it. Even the playerist player out there, even the most player nigga out there hates whole culture. Even Future hates whole culture, even though he benefits from it. He hates it, though. Deep down, a man want a girl to just be down for him, bro. And don't nobody else got her, bro. Deep down, don't no man just want to be running through chicks, bro. Deep down, you wish every chick you hit was you the only nigga that done hit. And the only nigga that gon' hit. Majority of men, we wired like that, bro. So deep down, any nigga benefiting from whole culture, you hate it. But you just understand, it is what it is, player. It is what it is. So it's like, what do we have out here? I'm supposed to go find a church girl who also selling the wop? That's tough. I don't know about that. At this point, bro, hey, man. You just got to either play the game or play the cut, bro. It's one of the two, bro. And the game is effed up right now, but hey, get with it or get lost. This is how these... And I'm going to leave it at this, bro. I'm going to leave it at this. It's these niggas' fault, bro. See, this shorty, bro, She like close to my age, but she into like older man who like basically sugar daddies type shit, bro. And this for all the weird ass 40, 50-year-old niggas out there, goddamn, going after them young, you know, hey, I ain't gonna say no names. You know. But she the type of chick, you know what I'm saying? She looking for a nigga to take care of her and shit. Buy her shit. You know, spend money on her and shit. So she be going after the sugar daddy. She pocket watching, you know? She looking for her a baller, basically. Or somebody with at least some funds. You know, she be bragging about how she effing other chicks' men. I could have any of y'all B words niggas and all this and that. She be bragging about how she taking shorties niggas. Now she can get any nigga she want. You know what I'm saying? You know how arrogant these shorties are. And she bad, so you know what I'm saying? Hey, she probably can get damn near any nigga she could. But yeah, bro, it's just like, I don't know, man. I lost track of where I was going, but it's just like, bro, this shit is so cooked, bro. Like, this shit is so cooked, bro. But it's just like, you know, all we can do is really adapt to it. But my bad, I lost track of where I was going with all that, bro. But that shit be getting overstimulated sometimes thinking about that shit. My damn ADHD get to kicking in, nigga. I get to think about everything, nigga. No, I'm playing. I don't got ADHD. Allegedly. You know, allegedly. Sometimes I be thinking I do, but nah. But yeah, bro. That's just what we in right now, bro. That's just what we in. I guess I'm kind of, damn, it's dark as hell now. I guess I'm damn near rambling at this point, so I'm gonna go ahead and close the video. I was dark as hell anyway, bro. Y'all can barely see a nigga. But I just had to get that off my chest, whatever. That last part, hey, you know, take it or leave it. I said what I said, bro. Hey, it's shorties in the church. It's prostitutes in the church, bro. That's tough. This is what we got to deal with, bro. This what your mamas and your, you know what I'm saying, your peoples is telling you, hey, why you ain't settled down yet? Why you ain't got this? Cause this is what we dealing with, goddamn. Y'all not, it's not 1994, goddamn. Shit is different. Oh, just go to church and find you a good girl. Nah, man. You gonna find all type of, man. Shit is just different now. They all programmed with the shit, bro. For the most part. You know? So this is just what we dealing with, bro. And like, it's not in our best interest to get attached to nothing out here for real, bro. You know? You either gotta be out here tricking to get some poon, or goddamn, you just really got to be on point where you will find one of them rare shorties that'll really be down for you, bro. But that shit is rare right now, bro. Rare like a motherfucker, bro. Like a motherfucker. What we got right now is just shorties out here just trying to have a good time, bro. You know, your best bet, hey, link up with a shorty, and in the back of your mind, hey, this may be a one-night fling. Fuck it. There's plenty more out here. Yeah, like I said, that's if you want to play the game. I don't advise you to, because the game is hey, man, a lot of niggas get hurt in this game, bro. It ain't for the weak, bro. You got to go into this shit heartless. A lot of niggas ain't ready for that shit, bro. I damn near ain't ready for that shit. I just ain't, you know what I'm saying? I'm just too much of a loving nigga, bro. But it's like, with what's going on out here, bro, like I said, bro, you got to be careful who you love, bro. You got to be careful who you give energy to, bro. You know what I'm saying? These women can be your detriment, bro. I'm just keeping it real. No tea, no shade. I'm just keeping it real, bro. I'm just keeping it real. I'm just calling it how I see it, bro. This is what I see out here, bro. You know what I'm saying? These are the shorties I'm dealing with, bro. They either one of them section type shorties. They always posting themselves at the section. You know what type of timing they on if they always at a section. Or they always out of town, but they don't never post who they with. Like, we know what type of time. These the shorties I'm trying to DM and slide in the DMs with, goddamn. I'm competing with goddamn niggas that's flying shorties out to exotic islands and shit. Nigga, I ain't on that type of timing. Like, that's what you got if you want a baddie, bro. This is what you got to compete with, bro. If you want a baddie, bro. It's rare you gonna find a baddie that don't got an ego, bro. The majority of them, their ego is out the roof, bro. So you either just got to blow them away with your charisma and your looks, or you got to really have something going, bro. Like, that's just what it is, bro. That's just what it is, bro. But it's dark as hell. Y'all niggas can barely even see me, bro. Prayers up to my dog, bro. I know he's gonna be straight, bro. But it's just like, man, prayers up to anybody out here just really stressed out, bro. Just really like, you know, man, find ways to decompress, bro. Really, bro. Really, bro. I know it's a lot, bro. I know, hey, it's people under a lot of stress, a lot of pressure right now, bro. You know. But hang in there, bro. Hang in there, bro. You know, God will make a way for his people, bro. He will. You know, if you believe in that stuff, if you believe in God, you know. Well, I'm going to get up out of here, bro. Y'all can barely see me. Peace.